You might imagine that someone who lost his fortune lives under the shadow of regret, hiding from the spotlight and quietly closing the door behind him. But when you look at Evander Holyfield today, you see something entirely different. A man in his 60s, waking up early, working out, participating in social events, speaking confidently in front of an audience of young people, and continuing to travel between cities and conferences. His house today is smaller than it once was, but his circle is warmer. His life is simpler, yet clearer. He doesn't talk much about what he lost, but rather about what he learned. On November 9, 1996, the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas hosted one of the most anticipated matches in boxing history, where Evander Holyfield, believed to be past his prime, faced the fierce champion Mike Tyson, who had just made a strong comeback after serving a prison sentence and was the heavy favorite to win. Before the fight, most predictions favored Tyson. Even betting companies gave him a clear advantage, while many saw Holyfield as a fighter whose time had passed, especially after a series of injuries and a decline in performance in previous years. As the rounds began, an unexpected surprise unfolded. Holyfield entered the ring with a clear plan: absorb Tyson's pressure in the early rounds, then exploit his weaknesses. Indeed, from the second round onward, Holyfield began imposing his style. He used his defensive intelligence effectively, blocking most of Tyson's punches and countering with precise, decisive blows. As the rounds progressed, fatigue began to show on Tyson, while Holyfield maintained his stamina and kept up a steady rhythm of pressure. In the sixth round, he managed to knock Tyson down for the first time in the match with a powerful headshot. Though Tyson quickly got back up, control had clearly shifted in Holyfield's favor. In the 11th round, after a series of concentrated blows, the referee stopped the fight and declared Evander Holyfield the winner by technical knockout, TKO. The result shocked the boxing world and was described as a miraculous victory. As for Holyfield, it restored his status as one of the greatest boxers in history. Financially, Holyfield earned approximately $30 million from this fight. This victory wasn't just a sporting triumph. It was a defining moment that reshaped Holyfield's entire career and propelled him back to the pinnacle of the sports and financial scene. Less than a year after his historic win in 1996, Evander Holyfield was forced to face Mike Tyson again on June 28, 1997, but this time in a title rematch at the MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas, making the atmosphere more tense than ever before. In this fight, all eyes were on Tyson, who was determined to reclaim his title, which he considered part of his personal legacy after his unexpected loss to Holyfield in 1996. Holyfield, on the other hand, was fully prepared to defend his title and knew this battle would be a much greater test than the previous one. From the start, the fight was charged with anger and tension. Tyson entered the ring with high spirits and fury in his eyes. Meanwhile, Holyfield remained calm and confident, knowing he had to impose his fighting style just as he had before. The early rounds saw Holyfield in clear control, continuing his smart defensive tactics, using quick movement and powerful punches, which pushed Tyson into reckless aggression. But as the third round approached, things took a dramatic turn. In the third round, the biggest shock occurred. Mike Tyson bit Holyfield's ear, an act that stunned everyone present. While Holyfield was in a defensive position near the ropes, Tyson launched a completely unsportsmanlike attack, biting off a piece of Holyfield's ear and causing severe bleeding. Despite the pain, Holyfield continued fighting, but it was clear the match had taken a troubling turn. In the fourth round, the incident repeated itself even more aggressively. Tyson bit Holyfield's ear again, prompting the referee to stop the fight and declare Holyfield the winner by disqualification. This time due to the referee's decision rather than a normal sporting outcome. This incident caused a massive uproar in the boxing world. Tyson was stripped of his title and fined $3 million. This fight solidified Holyfield's status as the official world champion, albeit in an unconventional way. While he secured the victory, bad luck had followed him due to the attack that tarnished the sport's reputation. Financially, this fight was profitable for Holyfield as well. He earned around $35 million, including bonuses and financial compensation. Nevertheless, This match remains one of the most infamous in boxing history, not because of Holyfield's win, but because of Tyson's bizarre actions. After all this, at the peak of his success, Evander Holyfield was one of the richest athletes in the world, with an estimated fortune of $200 million, thanks to numerous massive victories in the boxing ring. But with this immense wealth, Holyfield began making financial decisions that would later draw heavy criticism. The first step toward draining his fortune was purchasing a massive mansion in Glendale, Georgia. The house, sprawling over vast grounds with numerous rooms, was considered one of the most luxurious at the time. It was equipped with state-of-the-art amenities, including a huge swimming pool, entertainment facilities, and a dedicated floor for workouts. The maintenance costs, along with taxes, were enormous and became an increasing financial burden over time. But it wasn't just the house. Holyfield began excessively buying luxury cars, including high-end sports cars like Lamborghinis and Ferraris. He owned an extensive collection that he spent lavishly on. This wasn't limited to material possessions. Holyfield was surrounded by people who depended on him financially, forcing him to cover hefty salaries for trainers, staff, and personal security. These expenses kept piling up while he failed to manage his money wisely. Additionally, Holyfield led an active social life, spending money on parties and events, reinforcing his image as a superstar. This lavish lifestyle multiplied his debts and monthly expenses. Although Holyfield earned enormous sums from boxing, his lifestyle was consuming his wealth at an alarming rate, with no long-term plans or sustainable investments to secure his future. Over time, Evander Holyfield began noticing unexpected changes in his financial situation. At first, he couldn't grasp how quickly his fortune was dwindling due to his excessive spending. Between the lavish mansion, luxury cars, and ongoing habits draining his money, Holyfield started struggling to cover these expenses. Alongside these massive expenditures, Holyfield gradually fell into a financial crisis due to poor investments and unwise money management. While he splurged on entertainment, he didn't invest enough in sustainable income streams outside boxing. Though boxing provided substantial earnings, his time in the ring was limited, and Holyfield needed alternative revenue sources. One of the biggest financial problems he faced was mounting loans from luxury real estate, cars, and staff who heavily relied on him. As his income declined after retiring from boxing, these financial obligations became an unbearable burden. Boxing alone wasn't enough to cover his spending, and by 2008, things reached a breaking point. Holyfield declared bankruptcy after finding himself trapped in debts exceeding $20 million. His financial situation had become critical. He lost his mansion, some of his cars, and other assets that were sold to settle part of his debts. It wasn't just his money that was affected. These financial struggles also impacted his personal life. The pressure mounted, and he had to adapt to his new reality. From a sports champion to a man struggling to maintain his former lifestyle, it was a journey full of challenges and regrets. Evander Holyfield, after all the financial and personal challenges he faced, now lives a much more modest and quiet life compared to his peak financial years. Today, Holyfield lives in a relatively small home compared to the luxurious mansions he once owned. After losing his fortune, he chose to settle in a quiet area away from the spotlight. He resides in Atlanta, Georgia, the city where he grew up, staying close to family and close friends. His home isn't extravagant like before, but it's perfectly suitable for him and his family. He has a small garden and lives in a simpler environment, away from the public frenzy he once knew. This modest life reflects the changes in his personality and perspective after the losses he endured. On a daily basis, Holyfield has become more humble in his lifestyle. In the past, he spent extravagantly on luxury cars and entertainment. Now, he embraces a quieter life, focusing on maintaining his health and fitness. He continues to exercise regularly, lightly training in boxing and sometimes participating in workouts with young athletes. He now works in fields unrelated to major sports competitions. He's a motivational speaker at sports events and conferences, sharing his personal story and encouraging perseverance and success despite obstacles. He also works with charitable organizations, supporting youth and guiding them in life. Additionally, Holyfield has become deeply involved in charitable activities. He focuses on projects aimed at helping underprivileged youth, particularly in sports, organizing workshops and training sessions to inspire the next generation. Despite losing his fortune, Holyfield still enjoys a life filled with inner peace and a desire to help others. He's realized that success isn't just about money. It's about the impact you leave on others' lives and how you handle life's challenges.